we can get started. I have review for a little bit. So I have, if you want to get a piece of paper out and number it 1 through 8, we're going to do intervals just super quickly. You can get started. So I don't know if you guys have been practicing these at all. Totally okay if you haven't. I would recommend that you do, but I was going to just do ones based off of C for tonight, since that's what we did last time. I don't know if you guys have done ones like based off of other notes yet, so maybe when we do like the periodic reviews throughout the next few weeks, I'll do ones that don't have C, but for tonight, since we're just kind of getting back into things, I'm going to base them off C again. Okay. So number 1, remember I play them separate and together 3 times. One more. I think by the end of this office hour, you'll definitely know which one this is, because we're going to expand on it a little more later with triads. Okay, so number 2. So think about how far those sound from each other in sound. And maybe if I like didn't show you my keyboard, that would be good too. It's doing great. Okay, next one. That keeps happening to me.
That was awesome.
I can't wait to watch the recording of this back, actually.
That was so much fun.
Okay, I'm going to remove my notebook from there. What do I want to do next? Okay. Ready. I have literally a PowerPoint. I don't know why I'm not using it. It's good. Doing well. That's the overview, which is basically the same every week, except we're adding triads. And I was going to put this up for when you guys were doing this. So I'll just do that last one more time. Okay. Now let's do this one. Is it loud enough? Okay. I said 8, right? 1 through 8? Okay. Let me think of what I want to do next. Oh, I know. Okay. sounds so good. It almost sounds perfect, right? Okay. Next one, this is number 7, I believe. My all-time favorite interval. Think of the TV channel. Okay, one more. Think about that last note when you play it one more time. It's the worst sounding one. It gives it the unique name out of all the intervals. Okay, number 1 was a major third. And later we're going to learn that's what we build the triad on, the 1 and 3. And then, so it makes that nice chord. Number 2 was a minor second. That's the Jaws theme song, if we remember that. Okay. Number 3 is a perfect fifth. Sounds nice, it sounds whole, it sounds completed, because it's perfect. Number 4 was an octave. And then number 5 was minor third. Those are the 2 notes that we would build a minor chord off of, minor triad. So it would, but instead that's just the first interval is the minor third. Number 6 was a perfect fourth. Number 7 was the major 6, aka NBC. So and number 8, right? We're on the last one. Was a tritone. And this is the one that we listened to Maria from West Side Story. So it's as he goes on in the song. How are we feeling? Thumbs up or thumbs down about those? Good. And like those you always want to come back to. They're very important and they're going to be very important. I want to start off tonight using those because when we talk about triads later, intervals and chords, they're intertwined because chords are made up of smaller intervals. So it's really important that you get to know those first before we start any of the rest of it. Oh my gosh, Kurt, I wanted to watch, oh, there we go. I wanted to watch the TikTok that you sent me, so remind me to do that at the end. Because that was literally, it made my day. I was like, first of all, one of the kids from the office hours is messaging me, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, is he gonna ask me a question? And then it was the TikTok, which was even better. So that was so funny. Okay, let me move on to the next one. I had this slide in when Alondra was the only one here, so just pretend like you didn't see it, because I needed to use the meme more than once, okay? Okay, so let me stop sharing first. So we're gonna do one rhythmic dictation, one melodic dictation. These ones are fairly simple, just because I don't want to spend too much time on them tonight. Let me stop sharing so I can give you the information about them. My computer's overheating. Okay, so we're going to start with the rhythmic dictation. And that is going to be 4 measures in 6/8. So 4 measures in 6/8. Let me see if I made this. And I'll tell you that there are only 2 dotted rhythms in this. So remember when we are when we're playing in 6/8, yes, it's 6/8 notes, but we're feeling it in 2. So 2 groups of 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I was going to play this off of my computer, but I realized that if I do that, I'm going to show it to you guys. So I will play it just on the piano. I know it's rough when I play it on the piano, but these ones are not too bad tonight. So I'm going to play it 5 times. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's one thing in here that might trip you guys up, but other than that, it's no harder than what we've done before. The melodic dictation is not in 6/8, so don't worry. I love 6/8, so just, I guess I like torturing you guys with 6/8. What can I say? Okay. Number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I feel like you guys are definitely getting faster at these. And also you don't give me the looks like you have no clue what's going on the first time I do it. So that's an improvement for me. Okay, this is the 3rd time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can't see her, but she looks really cute. She just went on a long walk. Okay. 4th time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And one last time. Speaking of one last time, do you guys know the Hamilton soundtrack? Anyone? No?
Alondra does.
I,
Right? Don't you?
I listen to it religiously. That's why I was just thinking about it. This One Last Time is one of the greatest songs on there. Okay, Anyway, last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Are you ready? Ready or not? Can you see it? Are you also okay? I need to make it bigger, I think. How are we feeling? Did we get the dotted rhythms in the right places? That's good. How about the 16th notes? Yes? Cool. That was like the only thing that I feel like really could trip you up is the 16th notes, just because it's a lot of, just a cluster can be overwhelming. Also, just remember that singular eighth notes are always going to be short. They're not, dragged on. That's why the last one is like just immediately done. So I have not practiced this melodic dictation because I figured I was going to play it on my laptop, but let's see how this goes. It's going to be 4 bars in 3/4. I wonder if I play it, let me know if you can hear it. Did you hear anything? Good, cool. I think I can do it. I'm not a piano player, but let me turn the volume down really quick for a second and practice it. Also, key signature is 1 flat. Does anyone know what the key signature is then? If there's 1 flat, what key are we in? Yes. Okay.
Was that it?
No, I'm practicing. Hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna make you guys just put your ears up to your speakers to hear it. Okay. I'm gonna do it slower. So it's in 3. So 1, 2, 3.
I was gonna say, could you play like the tonic?
Oh, do you want me to just play the scale for you guys?
Yeah.
I'll do it one more time. That time didn't count through the melodic dictation. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Ideally, we're just looking for the notes right now for you guys to hear the notes. If the rhythm isn't perfect, that's okay. That you can practice that more with rhythmic dictations. Yeah. Okay. Time number 2. 1, 2, 3. Both starts and ends with F. Because when you start with a 1 chord, you're probably going to end with a 1 chord too in most music. Time number 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, time number 4. 1, 2, 3. Ready for the final time? Okay. 1, 2, 3. And there it is. Oh my god, I keep hitting things on this keyboard. Driving me nuts. So how do we feel about it? That's okay, that's okay. Like, I know I probably wouldn't have, so if you guys haven't been practicing, like getting back into this is hard in itself, especially when you don't have a keyboard right in front of you, which you won't during the test, you wouldn't in a regular class, but I'm telling you, if you just sit at a keyboard or a piano and listen to the notes, it's going to help you so much, because then you can always picture that in your head. So is there any specific problems you had with this one?
I guess with melodic dictation in general, how would you first tackle it? Would you try and place the rhythm first, or would you try and place the notes first?
I always try and place the rhythm first, because when I do dictations, I don't write like in the notes when I'm writing the rhythm. I just write down as it goes. I write like little, so if this one were to play, I just write little like lines where I hear a note like on the bottom there. Like I just do that above the staff. So once you know kind of where the beats are, then you can start listening to it. And you want to hear, what's important to hear is hearing like the high point and the low point of what I'm playing. So obviously the B flat was the focal point of it all. So if you hear that, that one stands out automatically. You can put that down. Like, oh, that might sound like B flat. Let's put that there. I would definitely say to tackle the longer notes first. So all the quarter notes, maybe, and then try and unjumble the eighth notes. This one was fairly stepwise motion, which they're not always going to be, but this one was just, so the F, E, F, G, A, that's the focal point of that measure, and then I go on kind of in the same pattern, you know. And the last measure is probably the hardest because I jumped up a fourth from E to A. So, like I said, hearing the intervals between these notes is so, why does Siri keep going off? I'm so sorry. Hearing the intervals between these notes is going to help a lot. Yeah, I would say the best way to tackle it would be rhythm first, because that's one thing that you can get and you know for sure. Like, I don't trust my ear all the time when it comes to notes, but I trust it when it comes to rhythm. Because rhythm is like a fact, you can set it down, but sometimes your ear might be hearing an F and mine might be hearing an F sharp or something, you know. So definitely would recommend doing the rhythm first. And please, 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 please use those websites that I gave you, especially Tone Savvy. That's what I use. Yeah, I would just recommend those so much. Okay, let's get back over to the presentation. So, I wanted to keep just reviewing a little bit before we go into triads, because I think this is going to help a lot. So this is what we looked at, I believe, in the first or second week, and it's the scale degrees. So do you guys know that? So obviously we have them written out here. We have the names So 1 is the tonic, 7 is the leading tone. And then 5 is dominant. Those are the ones you need to know. But see how I have the Roman numerals written out beneath it for each scale degree? Are you guys familiar with that? Have you ever done that in your own music classes? If not, it's okay. Okay, so these ones, the Roman numerals I have written out here, pertain to major scales. So in a major scale, you're going to have an uppercase 1, 4, and 5. Okay? And then when you get onto minor scales, it's going to change. This is something I had to memorize for a quiz, but I'll always know 1, 4, and 5 are the ones that are going to be the most important numerals to remember, Roman numerals, that they change. So we have scale degree 1, which is the tonic, scale degree 2, which is minor because it's lowercase. And when I say minor, I'm meaning the triad you'd build off of it, but I'll show you that in the next slide. Scale degree number 3, minor, also known as the median. Scale degree number 4, uppercase. And 5, dominant. 6, minor. And here's 7. So 7 is the 7th minor diminished. So here I have the like little caret and the O, but really what you'd be seeing is the diminished symbol, which is basically just like a circle. So if I were writing it out, not on a computer, it would look like this. I don't know, this is probably backwards, but you get the idea that it's just a little circle up above it. That means diminished, which we'll talk about diminished in a few slides. I'm going to send you guys this presentation. I know I literally always say that, but I swear I'm going to send you guys this one because this has like notes in it that I think are genuinely going to be helpful and stuff that you need to remember when it comes to all of this. So here's the next slide. So like I was just saying, there's a difference between major and minor. So I know it's a little bit blurry, but see how the minor Roman numerals look a little bit different than the major ones? So that's what you have to know. You have to know that the 1, 4, and 5 of a minor chord will be lowercase because those are the minor triads of the scale. So for right now, the third scale degree of a minor scale, don't worry about the plus sign. They're being extra. But see how just when you're drawing comparisons to the 1, 4, and 5, how they're different. The fifth in the minor scale is lowercase, even though it doesn't look it. It is. So definitely what would help me with that is just to write out a C major scale and A minor scale, because that's the related minor, right? To C major. So if you just want to write that out one day and just write the correct Roman numerals underneath it, that's not even just for C major and A minor, that's for every minor and major scale. That's very, very important to know. Okay, next one. So minors. I think I might have touched on this before, but there are 3 different kinds of minor scales. So the natural minor is the lowered 3rd, 6th, and 7th. Do you guys play minor scales on your instruments? Do you play the different minor scales or just one?
Well, sometimes we play multiple.
Yeah. So like would your band director say like, "Oh, I want like a natural minor"?
Yeah, we did that. We did all the natural minors, and then before quarantine, we were looking at harmonic and a little bit of melodic.
Cool. So like I said, for me, it just helps to write out and I'll send you this. You can literally put this into a notebook. That natural minor is the lowered third, sixth, and seventh. Harmonic minor, you only lower the third and the sixth because the sixth and the seventh will have a nice space in between them, and it makes it sound like a harmonic minor. And then the melodic is the odd one out of the group, that it changes on its way down the scale. So on your way up the scale, you only have a lowered third, right? That E flat there. But then when you're going back down, you have a lowered seventh, sixth, and third. So it changes. So you want to know the difference between those, because, you know, you could be asked to write out like F minor melodic, you know, and you have to know that melodic is the one that changes. You always have to remember that. So I just wanted to go over that a little bit, because I think we kind of brushed over it before. And like I said, like I can spew this information at you, but really it's just going to help when you go back and look at it and put it in your notes yourself and apply it to different scales. Okay, so triad time. I'm excited. So triads are our first step into making greater music. So a triad itself is a set of 3 notes that can be stacked vertically in thirds. So when I say that, I mean that this is a triad. These are all triads because they're stacked vertically in thirds. Okay? So when you're, what's the best word for this? When you're creating a triad, you use scale degrees 1, 3, and 5. So that means the first scale degree, third, and fifth. If we're to go back to this one, I'm using C here, I'm using E, and I'm using G. So if it helps you for while you're starting, you can write out the entire scale to figure out which each scale degree is. So if we're doing a C major triad and I'm using scale degrees 1, 3, and 5, it's going to sound C, E, G. And it sounds very nice and pretty. So that's a major, C major triad. Here we get into important wording. So when I talk about minor, I still use degrees 1, 3, and 5 to build a triad, no matter what. But when you build a minor triad, you're going to lower or flatten the third by a half step. So instead of having C, E, and G, I'm going to have C, E flat, and G. So it sounds a bit sadder because it's minor. And these are the funky words that I need you guys to remember. So diminished makes, and we'll look at these in a second, I'll write it out. Diminish is when you lower both the third and the fifth scale degree by half a step. So instead of just the third, it's both. So now it's C, E flat, G flat. And I'm saying G flat instead of F sharp because they're the same note, but I'm saying G flat because it's diminished. So you never would use a sharp in that. You would use C, E flat, G flat. So that sounds diminished. And you wanna, these later come into play with ear training. So let's do augmented and then I'll tell you how that'll apply. So augmented is when it's the first and the third are staying the same, first and third scale degree, but the fifth scale degree is being raised by a half step. And just if you want to, I don't know if you were writing this down, but if you want to make a note next to diminished and augmented, diminished, the symbol is the little circle that I showed you. And then when something's augmented, the symbol is a plus sign. So if you see that plus sign, think, oh, I'm raising the fifth by a half step. I'm adding to it. So I'm raising the fifth by a half step. And that'll sound like this. So it'll be C, E, and G sharp. So that's what augmented sounds like. And just to finish my thought from before, eventually, like we've been practicing with dictations and intervals, we'll practice identifying whether a chord is major, minor, diminished, or augmented. So you won't need to figure out what chord it is. I'll just ask you which one of the four is it. Major, minor, diminished, or augmented. And it gets hard. That's the worst thing I've ever had to practice is hearing what kind of chord it is in my head. I'm so bad at it. My music theory teacher will attest to it. But I still work on it to this day because diminished and augmented, if you're not careful, they can flip-flop in your brain. So you want to hear diminished sounds closer together because they're all lower. And she would always tell us that it sounded like an old movie where someone was like tied to the train tracks. Do you know what I mean? Like the old black and white movies where they're like having this big problem. And, oh, that's not it. So it's like, oh, what are we gonna do next kind of thing. Leaves you like scared. While augmented is, it's a bit more spaced out. The notes are a bit more spaced out than rather than those sound closer together. And I know that might not make sense to you right now, but I think once you start practicing them and listening and learning about them more, you'll hear what I mean when I say closer and further apart in distance. So I believe the next slide shows you what they look like when you write them on the staff. Okay, so this is just a graphic that you're using the first, third, and the fifth. The first can also be referred to as the root of the chord. And they're all stacked together. And so this is very, very important. I'm going to stay on this one for a little while. So major, like I said, major is when it follows the key signature. So right now we're looking at these in C major. The key signature is no sharps, no flats. So there's no accidentals written onto the major one here. So that major one is C, E, G. And it's meant to be played all together. That's why they're stacked on top of each other. So really, if I was just looking at that in a piece of music, I would just play, you know? And then minor, as we see what I was explaining before, the only thing that is lowered is the third. And then diminished, there's two flats on that one because we're lowering the third scale degree and the fifth scale degree. And so see how augmented, it's making the E natural again, because that's no longer flat. And augmented, the only thing that changes is the fifth, and that's going to be raised. So instead of adding a flat, we're adding a sharp. Okay, so I wanted to give you guys maybe one, or eventually we'll do more examples of these, but how about I do the examples with you instead of having you just do them, because I think it needs to be a bit more. This is just showing you the fun Oreos. I don't know if you look at it for long enough, it makes sense because the augmented is further apart, right? The bottom and the top are further apart because there's more stuff in the middle. Major, just equal. Minor, the middle is a bit smaller because the third. And then diminished, the top two are a bit smaller because the third and the fifth are lowered. So this is just the resources and then the questions. I'm gonna go to flat IO. So we can do just a few together because I'll just put it hours rather than you guys having to do them yourself. I think this might be better. Okay. So let me just, I think you'll be able to hear it. So my first example that I wanted to do was E major. So if we're building an E major chord, I'll do it as a whole note. What's the first note gonna be? I saw you mouth it. So E. Can you hear that? When I just did that. It's okay, we don't need to. It's really loud anyway. So what is the second note gonna be for E major? G? Yes. No. Yes. Yes. G sharp. So I'll put that there. And then what will the fifth of that be? So you can't hear it playing that, but it would sound like so E, G sharp, B. And that's how you'd build that. And good thing that you caught the G sharp because that is in the key of E major. So let's do, for minor, let's do D minor. What does everyone think that my first note will be? Yes, thank you. And my second note, F. Oh yeah, because we're minor. Thank you. I was looking at my circle of fifths and thinking two sharps. And the last note, A, yes. So without that sharp, it's gonna sound nothing because my keyboard's not on. Sounds sadder than what would be a D major. Happy D major, sad D minor. And then if I want to do we'll do augmented first. Oh my God, it just wants the jazz students to come out. We'll do augmented F major. So what's my first note? Yes. What's my second note? Yeah. What's my my third note, aka my fifth of the scale. You can unmute because I'm really bad at lip reading.
C sharp.
Yes, yeah. So let me add that. Why is it not letting me add the sharp? There we go. So that will sound like, keep turning this off. Rather than if I were just doing a regular F major B. What the augmented sounds like. Okay. And last but not least, we'll do a diminished one. Let's do B. Wait. We'll just stick with majors for now. We'll do B major. So my first note is B, right? What's my second note?
C.
So if we're thinking in the key of B major, no, you're totally fine. So there's 5 sharps, right? So that would make D sharp. So right now we're just lowering it to be a D natural, right? And my last note?
F natural.
Yes. So that'll sound like, let me go lower. Rather than what a B major would sound like. That's major versus diminished.
Can you play the minor and diminished?
Yeah, so I'll do the minor first, so. No, I'm sorry, that's not right. So it's, so that would be B, D natural, and F sharp. So I'll play that one. So this is minor versus diminished. Oh my gosh, Siri. I'm gonna have a problem with Siri. Anyways, so do you want me to do that one more time just so we can highlight that? So this is the minor versus the diminished. As you can hear, it just doesn't expand as far with that last note. It's taken a step down. So I think maybe we should, what time is it? I wanted to keep this to an hour. So we have 5 minutes. I just wanted to do one minor maybe. So we'll do E minor augmented. So what would my first note be? It would be E. So E, and my next note is, do we know the key signature of E minor? Yes, G is the related major. Yeah, so that would be the second note too. And what would the last note be then?
B sharp.
I know it's gonna, yeah, you could say it like that. That's what it's gonna look like. That's what you're gonna write it as. So that would sound like, really, so B sharp is really just what note? Yeah, so it's C. Because there's no black key on the piano in between B and C. So I would just play C. So it'd be E, G, C. So it sounds nice, which is weird. But here's the thing, is when we're in minor, when we do the minor scale, it's going to be a lowered third, right? So it wouldn't sound so nice because this would be a G flat. Because remember when we were talking about the minor scales, how the third is always lowered? So it would be, hold on, let me get, sounds literally nuts. Yeah, that one, minors get tricky. That's why I just wanted to bring one in. Really what you need to be focused on is the major key signatures, I would say. Yeah, because you're creating, it gets confusing because I'm referring to major key signatures and minor key signatures, but I'm also referring to minor triads as well. So when I say minor, like when I just said E minor, I'm thinking of like the E minor scale, E minor key signature, you know? So I'm thinking of like going up the E minor scale. That's when my wording can get all jumbled up. Since it is 6 o'clock, do you guys have any questions? Any thoughts, comments, suggestions?
So how should we practice this?
Yeah, so I believe my good friend Tone Savvy is doing chords. Yeah. Let me see. So see, when you go to chords here, you can choose triads, and it'll be major, diminished, augmented. That's what we're working on. Make sure that it's in root position because we haven't talked about inversions yet. We might talk about them next week. I don't want to overwhelm you guys, but I also don't want to get behind. So just like, let me know if I'm going too fast or too slow because I have no other way of knowing other than if you tell me. So when you do this, when you select triads and then just root position, it plays it for you. And you can hear it again. You can hear it played individual notes. And you want to just hear all of these. Like hear if it's like, oh, that was a major chord, then I hit major. So that's for the ear training part. If you're wanting to practice writing them, I was thinking about giving you guys, coming up with maybe like a little worksheet for them. That way you guys aren't just having to make them all up yourself. So I think I might come up with a worksheet for that, or find one for you guys that'll give you, like, it'll be like A minor triad, and you'll write that out on a piece of staff paper. And I'm trying to figure out a way that I can give you guys worksheets and then have you send the answers to me so I can correct them for you. So you know, it's like I'm actually like, there's someone checking you on these things. You know what I mean? So obviously, like, I'm not your teacher, but if you guys are self-studying, there's not many other options. So I want to help you guys out as best as I can. So that's my mission for this weekend, this upcoming week, is to try to figure out how I want to do that. So I'm going to work on getting Alondra into the Slack channel, but if I can't, Kurt, will you share the worksheet I'll put out with her? Yeah, so I think that's all I have for you guys, unless you have anything else you wanted to talk about. We're going to watch the TikTok, if I can get it on my screen. Let me go to Slack. I just want to share, I'll just share my desktop so it's better. Let's see if it lets me open it on here. But you guys won't be able to hear it. Hold on. Hold on. Got you. Zoom sucks sometimes.
Four, 1, 2, 3. Gobble me, swallow me, dripped on the sodomy. Gobble me isn't anacrusis. It's in 4. So 1, 2, 3. Gobble me, swallow. It's beat 4. It's beat 4. Gobble me, swallow me, not gobble me, swallow me. It's not funny. It's really annoying. People remix it right. You're not a music producer if you can't count to 4.
So he's being like so proper about it. Like anacrusis is like such a fancy word for it. Like it's ridiculous, but he's just saying like that it's like the pickup to a measure. So I thought about that TikTok for so long because I was like, I Googled anacrusis because I knew kind of what it was, but I didn't like know exactly. And so I wanted to, so when he's saying like when the snapping, because he's like, basically when she says gobble, like that's the pickup. So she's like, gobble me, you know, then goes into the first measure. If you were like analyzing WAP, that's how you do it. Like, I wonder if there's sheet music. If so, I will find it. But yeah, that I want to be on music theory TikTok. That's all I'm saying. I feel like it'd be a cool place to be. I don't think it exists, but maybe I'll single-handedly start music theory TikTok. Yeah, I will. In all my free time, right? Okay, so if you guys don't have anything else for me, I think we're good to sign off. Don't forget to keep checking the page on Fiveable music theory page for any resources that you may need. Especially you, Alondra, since you're not in the channel yet. Let me know though if you get into Slack. If not, I'm gonna contact Steven. He knows how to figure out all the tech problems at Fiveable. So yeah. I hope you guys have a good good weekend. It's not Monday. I thought it was Monday for a second. I'm not sure what night I'm going to do next week. It's probably either going to be Monday or Friday. It's not going to be Friday actually. So you guys have band on Tuesday, Thursday, right? Does that go on? Like, you can totally tell me if you just don't want it at all on Tuesday and Thursdays. But does it go on like all night? Like how long is it usually?
It's from like 3 to 6 Pacific.
Oh my god. That's awful. That's so horrendous. Do you spend 3 hours in the classroom when you're in school?
We usually spend more, but this is like, he thinks this is.
Damn. That's terrifying. I'm so sorry. So I won't make you sit through an office hour after you've done 3 hours of that. So I can try for Wednesday. It's just all of the courses that are actually running on Fiveable this semester, they have their office hours like all on Wednesday. So I don't know if they'll let me, intrude on that just because there's only so many Zoom accounts. If not, then we'll have to do Monday night. But that might be good because I'm hoping to get you guys the worksheet by tomorrow or Sunday so we could go over the worksheet and start inversions. Yeah, so that's about it. That's all I got for you guys. Have a good weekend. I have midterms next week, so I'll be studying all weekend. So do better than I'm doing, basically. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.